This week on Gaming Dudes Podcast.
I'm definitely cutting that. Not that, though. What are these characters doing? Look at this. The way they walk, the way they're almost over animated.
Yeah.
In a way. Like they're
But the towns are like just really
it's like they're
cool.
Yeah. Like there's stuff to see here.
Looks like he has a penis on his head, but
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah, the beanies are always I always thought beanies looked
they kind of do, but that one's like real. It's like a bottle pop.
Yeah, no.
Pop the top.
Yeah, that was
Flip it and shake it. Hello, welcome to an episode of Game Dudes Podcast. I am Bren.
I'm Spidey.
And we're in the actual same room.
Yep, we're in the same room. We're back.
Same room episode.
Finally. It's been how long since we've done this?
It's been a while. We don't have a super plan here today, but we just exercised. We're tired.
Yeah.
Moving our fat bodies around.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I did buy the Pokemon DLC for Scarlet or for Violet.
Was it good?
For Scarlet. I'm not done with it yet. I bought it last night, and I played it for like a while. So far,
Did you?
so there's two. There's the part one, which is the teal mask, and there's like a part two. I don't know what that part is, and then there's like an epilogue.
Did you genuinely like Scarlet and Violet?
Yes, there was a lot I liked, a lot I didn't like.
Like what did you like about Scarlet and Violet?
So I liked.
Since we never got to talk about this.
First off, people dump on
Game Freak,
but people dump on games. People are so negative about games these days. Like, and I know that we have our fair share of trash and stuff. So it's not like I'm trying to say that I'm like too much better.
What's funny is I just wrote a video about this. I actually wrote a video about it, but
it's like I feel like the gaming space.
It.
Yeah, we could sit here and be like, yeah, things could be better, and yeah, they could. Yeah. But it's like, point is, they're not. So let's look for the bright side in some of this stuff.
I'm just gonna go play the games I love.
That too, but it's like there are games where just because there's some things that aren't great doesn't mean the game's bad.
No, that doesn't. It's like I said.
People are always like, microtransactions. It's like with stuff. It's like, okay, don't buy the stuff.
Well, if anything, if people are complaining about DLC,
I'm talking about for starters, the First Descendant. That game's super fun. But people are like,
yeah, you're talking about
it's
that.
Like the Destiny,
I remember
the anime,
yeah.
third-person Destiny
with the anime lip syncing.
Yeah.
In 3D.
So it's like that. It's like, dude, it's really. That game is so fun. That game's a fun game. It's not that bad. It's not a bad game. People were like, microtransactions, pay to win. It's like, yeah, if you want, or you could grind like the rest of us and like make. That's the fun part about it.
Yeah, that's what we've said. Well, what's funny is you say we trash things, but what's funny is we even called people out on in previous episodes on complaining about that. That's like of all the things to complain about.
It's the same thing with
It's like if the game is objectively not objectively bad, but if it's bad, then it's bad. But here's the thing: if you're complaining about one element of a game, especially microtransactions, that's just the complaint that gets you views because there's a bunch of people who are just like, oh, but that's how people are.
Yeah.
Did they complain about the Scarlet DLC or?
Well, you're always gonna see stuff that is pretty good, but you're always gonna see stuff that's negative, and I understand like you gotta talk about the negative. Just that when I haven't played that much of it, and I'm having like a lot of the characters are super cool. The two characters you interact with so far, it's very fun. The story's like already in some ways more interesting than the main story. There are segments of the main story that I like a lot, but there are segments. It's way better than Sword and Shield. I'll say that right off the bat.
Well, yeah, that's not an easy. But I watched you play it, so I saw your.
So this is what we're saying. Graphically, Sword and Shield had a better style about it. I think
maybe a little bit
because Scarlet and Violet. I don't mind going to 3D as long as you keep the heart of the game, and they still have. And honestly, a lot of the graphics look beautiful. In some, I know people trash the graphics. They're like, but it's first off for the Switch, it looks great. It's the Switch.
Well, here's the thing. This is what people don't realize.
Wait. So the different Sword and Shield. Remember how it looked, and you've seen how Scarlet and Violet looked. There are aspects of Scarlet and Violet that I like that look more, but I like the overall style of Sword and Shield more because it's more Pokemon-y to me.
Well, I always try to.
Trashing it.
I'm different. So when I look at a game, I haven't talked about this with our brother because he, the game we've been working on, collaborating on, because he wants to make it look afternoony, and I've experimented with color grading and other engines and stuff, but if your color palette is flat, it's gonna look.
Oh, I
off.
see what you mean.
Like
the color palette is kind of flat.
If it's flat, it's gonna look off.
Well, you saw it. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's from what I saw.
I feel like the color palette was way better in Sword and Shield.
I actually liked Arceus's color palette a lot. I think Arceus.
Well, Arceus is similar.
Legends Arceus
kind of similar to Scarlet.
I actually kind of. I don't know.
Maybe you like Scarlet better.
What I liked about it was, well, here's the thing. What I liked about the original games, yes, they're 2D, and some people are like they're not comparable, is they popped. They really pop on screen. Like Ruby and Sapphire pops. You have a pop to the way the color looks. It's like, it's like this looks really pleasant.
Think of how good the 3D was in that. That's another good example.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Even the remake had such a pop.
Really
the color
pops.
Job.
I'm just saying Scarlet doesn't have that.
Yeah. It's like blue. You get like the blue of the dye.
You get
change
when you're in the
hues change. Oh, dude.
When you're in the grassy afternoon times, there's like really beautiful parts with that. Well, there's areas where it's kind of nighttime.
Dude, yeah, and that's what you're
blues,
trying.
There's greens, there's reds, there's yellow,
and even looking. I even thought this when I was looking at like Sword and Shield. I'll agree with you. Maybe is a bit more.
I feel like Sword and Shield was more like that.
But it definitely. See, this is the thing about these 3D ones, and the way I feel about it is every time a series transitions to 3D, they have to take that into account. It's not just about the gameplay. It's not just about the way the models look or the way they move.
Because the gameplay in Scarlet and Violet, as far as like
I heard it was really good
stuff you can do, that you can go to each other's worlds flawlessly. You can have your Pokemon at all times and bring them back in your Pokemon.
Yeah, I heard that was.
Also, if you're grinding against like wild Pokemon, you can just like have them out of the ball and just tell them to attack stuff, and then you don't pick your attacks. It's just auto battles. If you want to do that instead.
Well, just keep in mind, Sword and Shield had horrible animations, though. That's the thing. The Pokemon's were. I watched clips. Some of the Pokemon weren't even animated. They would just float. Like when they followed you, they wouldn't actually walk.
Oh, I see.
And it's like, I understand. Like, I can see where they're coming from like a game development standpoint, because it's like you're making hundreds of these things. Yeah. And it's like, how do you?
But that's kind of part of what's cool is if you did put that much.
Because it's like, well, when I think about it from like...
It's like when you do in Soul Heart Gold and Soul Silver, when you could have your Pokemon out behind you.
Yeah, at the park.
They did good with the height.
Oh, it wasn't in the park.
Like it made it feel like they were big. Like they were bigger.
Yeah.
Like they'd be way bigger than you, or a little bit bigger than you.
And in the I've heard that the 3D ones kind of make the scaling a little wonky. Even the anime had wonky scaling.
The scaling was actually pretty good in Sword and Shield.
Oh, really?
Or I mean in
Scarlet
and Violet. Sword and Shield, or no, Arceus. It was really good.
Yeah, Arceus seemed
because they would be huge.
Arceus looked like a storybook to me. The way
Scarlet and Violet is similar.
The colors looked
pretty big. Like, they'll be big.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You can't make a Pokemon look small. Like
unless they're supposed to be, I don't know why they would be.
It's like Charizard. If he was small, he's stupid.
You know, technically his height's not that tall.
Well, what's funny is in the show, he's like, at times he's gargantuan. He's like gargantuan.
Yeah. Like Rhyperior will be out sometimes, and he's like huge.
Yeah, he's
like a
I'll say with Groudon. If Groudon's small,
yeah, it's like you want him to be big, or like Gyarados.
Yeah, if Gyarados is big. See, this is the thing. This all ties into the art style. You have to make it. See, Pokemon is supposed to be colorful. Yeah, I see each one representing a season of the original games, minus the first game because it was just green, and I like it, but it was just. But it's like, it's like. So Ruby and Sapphire kind of represented the summery look, summer mixed with spring.
I also like the colors in Gold and Silver.
Diamond and Pearl was fall and winter. So that's how I see those two. It's two relationships.
That's true, actually, yeah.
Music's a bit more like that.
The music for the old ones is incredible. Although Scarlet and Violet's music is
I heard it was way better. I heard it was way better than Sword and Shields was generic.
I can think of maybe 2 or 3 that I was like, nice.
And then Arceus was just spam the same thing.
Because Pokemon's done so legendary with music that it's like, if it's not, you don't put that much time in it, it's like, we're going to notice. Because
it's up to...
Think of all the bangers you listen to from...
Oh, dude.
On 3DS, Game Boy.
Gen 3, dude. I would listen to... I'd listen to Gen 3 soundtrack. I still pop on sometimes. If I'm prototyping like a 2D game, I'll put Little Root Town on. I'll put Little Root Town on. I'll put from Ruby and Sapphire. I'll put on Slateport City. Any town from that game. That is my favorite soundtrack in the series. But I think Diamond and Pearl soundtrack is good, but there are some very strange, like there's some strange ones I've heard, man. I could pull some out that are real. I'm not going to do it here because I don't need Nintendo claiming the video.
Yeah,
but
I know. I'm just saying, like, so yeah, like I said before, one thing that the old games did was
consistency.
No, they made you feel like, well, yeah, but they made you feel like the world was like really populated. That's my biggest complaint.
Felt really big. I heard people. I saw some clips from it. Yeah, there's not many NPCs in there.
And the cities are like they barely try. Besides like the one main city in this DLC I'm playing for it. It looks like they tried more for the area to be more unique looking because you're in Unova.
Yeah, because you
go to Unova.
Yeah, you go to black and white. The black and white.
And it's like they made it a lot more.
They actually cared, basically.
Like it's not amazing, but it's
a lot more.
It's a lot better. Where it's like it's more populated. The area looks like the city, like the little areas look different. The buildings look different. Like it's a lot more character. So people were saying like, oh, they didn't fix a bunch of stuff. It's like, well, they listened to that because the world is way better in the DLC that I've seen so far. And then that in Sword and Shield, the cities were awesome. But there was nobody around.
No.
You weren't doing anything in the city. You're basically
I watched you. You were running around doing your weird spin trick.
Because it used to be, Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the lamest. That was probably the lamest.
But yeah, I tried. Like, it felt like back then, you go in a city and you want to talk to characters and like.
Well, you know what's funny?
Explore areas. What's going on?
Rustboro City. That's what I always draw to. It's the first city you actually go to in Gen 3.
Surprise.
And I draw to it, and it has like 5 buildings, but it feels like a city. Like maybe 6, 7 buildings.
Yeah.
But it feels like a city. How? And when you think about it, it feels like a city. Yeah, why does it? Because the music reads like a mall. Or maybe a city type environment. Because there's a lot of characters in it. There's a plot-relevant purpose in there. You go there to fight Roxanne.
Yeah, but they make it, even in Gen 1...
Oh, even there.
You go in, like, these cities, Goldenrod. You're like, whoa, look at
Goldenrod.
Built Lavender Town. Like,
Lavender Town was great.
That's 2D, bro. It's freaking top-down.
Oh, no, I'm including those too.
So it's like, how do they do that? It's like, if you can do that and make me want to walk around and talk to people and make the dialogue interesting enough that I'm, like, curious about stuff.
No, I'm curious. It's like, I want to talk to every character.
They don't have that now. I'm not really talking to many people besides the main.
Yeah, you're like, who cares?
I will say, the world exploring, like in the wild and stuff, exploring around in the wilderness, Scarlet and Violet is unmatched. It's amazing.
Yeah, I've heard it was good.
As opposed to Sword and Shield.
Yeah, Sword
and Shield's wild was cool when I played it, but then you're kind of like, when you play this, I was like blown away. Like the grassy areas, they did incredible. It's like that's kind of was like what their main focus was it kind of being more like wildernessy, and I think
that's how Pokemon is. So that's the thing.
If they put a little more effort into having cities be more unique, I think that would have been, and more people around,
would have been great.
More stuff to do that felt like you're doing stuff. Because think how cool a lot of the plot stuff was back in the day.
Oh yeah,
think about all the plot points, even in the old ones like Gold and Silver,
Red and Blue with the silver.
Who's ever gonna forget, dude? Your freaking rivals watching in the window. Then he steals a Pokemon, and then you're fighting him because he's like a douche, and then you're like traveling up that treacherous trail, that first trail you go up at the start, because I can't remember, you have to like meet someone, and then or you have to grab the professor, I think, or something.
Yeah,
or
Professor, whatever
Elm?
his name is, Professor Elm. Well, no, the.
But then, dude, think, and then what about the Gyarados, the red-tailed Gyarados in the Lake of Rage and Lance, and then you're helping their Team Rocket people who are selling they have the Slowpoke tail ring.
Awesome.
It's like
I did all that.
It's like, that's amazing.
Finding the red Gyarados, I did all that stuff.
Like, think about the story, but think about that compared to what we have now, story-wise. That's Gen 2.
Even Gen 1, think about it. Self-co.
Yeah.
Going to Lavender Town as a kid.
The whole Giovanni.
Yeah, Giovanni was the best villain.
Because who's the 8th gym leader? Who knows?
Yeah,
it's him.
It's him. Yeah,
he's also the leader of Team Rocket. Slivco. Lavender Tower. Dude, the whole Snorlax. You have to use the
the flute. Yeah, dude.
SSN. Like, dude, SSN was one of my favorite segments of the whole game.
Yeah, I remember that.
When I was young.
The truck. Watch out for the truck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then you Cinnabar Island. Go into the cave to catch Mewtwo.
I remember that.
And then the Pokemon League is so fun.
I must have played more of Gen 1 than I thought. I thought I didn't, but I remember.
That doesn't include how fun it was to hunt the legendary Pokemon. Zapdos, Moltres, Articuno.
And that was in Gen 2, having to hunt them down.
Yeah. But Gen 1, like, having to go to the power plant, you just so happen to find the power plant. You have to talk to Bill to make it so the PC can be...
Yeah, and what about...
The Golden Nugget, whatever the victory...
Doesn't he, turn into, Doesn't he turn into a Pokemon, or something? Yeah.
You have to help him turn... No, he's in a costume.
He's in a costume.
You have to,
but the sprite is just
can't reach
him being a Pokemon.
He can't reach the button because his arms are too short.
It's the most absurd,
Dude, I think that's awesome.
No, I agree.
All that stuff, and you had to go through that. Plus, you get Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle.
Yeah.
You have to go through Mount Moon.
Dude, I
basically always went through Mount Moon without Flash. I don't think I got Flash a single time.
I don't think anybody got Flash in any of those. I don't think anyone did. Even in, like I said, every other game afterwards.
Grinding the gym leaders, they were harder. They were way harder then.
Yeah.
It could have been because I was younger, but actually, I don't think it is. They just were.
Some were, dude. Like I said, my Nuzlocke have proven as such. That,
yeah, exactly.
That they're way harder. Even if you have type effective...
There's some grouchy guy in Viridian City that doesn't let you pass for a little bit.
Yeah, well, he's in the Japanese one, he's drunk. So.
Yeah, but
they changed it to him being over caffeinated.
Oh, dude, that including all the creepy Sabrina stuff, the bike lanes.
I remember going on those bike routes. Those were pretty cool. I did that for
think of all that.
I did that for a Nuzlocke.
Think of listen. Okay, so listen to all that stuff we said about. That's not even all of it.
Yeah, dude, we could talk about all
of us going through.
Well,
just
the old Chateau.
We haven't even hit. We haven't even hit other stuff with amazing.
The old Chateau itself had no purpose.
I would say the last game. Well, really, Sword and Shield is the start of
it was the start of the decline for that. The actual decline, like the real decline.
Because all the other DS games I loved.
And for me, like I said, I just got burned out. That's just how it was.
Oh, I understand.
It's still a great series. Like I said, X and Y was actually good. Even for the little.
But at least things are. It's like the story. There's a story. It's
popping.
Cool.
Everything. Colors are popping. Especially.
Let's not even get started on Ruby Sapphire with the freaking Team Aqua and Team Magma, which is the coolest thing ever.
Oh yeah, dude. Like I said, the thing is, what I'm saying is
the teams, all that was so cool.
This all loops back around to where it's like, if you're, especially, it's still, it's not a 2D game. Obviously it's not a 2D game. Freaking, whatever it's called, Scarlet and Violet. But the thing is, the 2D games, it's weird. I mean, I feel the same way with remakes. A lot of times they miss the point of, like Crash Bandicoot. It's too colorful. It's too bright. The brights, they over brighten the sun. Yeah, they over brighten the sun.
I didn't notice.
In the old games, what I liked was so in the third one, because dude, I replayed the first level over and over because I literally just replayed it over and over because I liked it. It wasn't even just because I sucked.
It's a good first
level. It was literally just because I kept replaying because I thought it was so fun. And then when I see the colors, there's a fall color in the original. It's a little bit muted. I like it. it's got a fall looking color. In the other one, it's just summer. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It is like brightened to heck, or it's like too. And I like colorful stuff, but there's a point where you miss the intention of what the game is doing. And with the newer Pokemon games, I'm with you. It looks like they're kind of missing the intention of the look.
Like, yeah, they are, and it's different. In some ways, it's okay, but it's like you know.
And that's not even that's a very minor thing.
So I'm saying is Pokemon is awesome, right? Like it's fun. People love it still. So I'm like, look, it is the game we have right now, and there's still enough good to have a good time.
Exactly. At least it's not.
Game,
at least it's not dog water. I'm just being honest. There's worse games in Nintendo.
I feel like everybody's always like, not worth it. This isn't worth it. It's like, well, what would you think is worth it now? Like, would you rather not have them release DLC so we don't get anything in between?
Yeah. The DLC complaint is stupid. It's like, dude, I want as much content as I can get.
If you're gonna give me more content,
brother, I wanted it in my Spider-Man games, but I never got freaking DLC.
Plus, one thing that's really cool is like I have some Pokemon that I've had in black and white that I've like put in the Pokebank and then
you can pull them
in home, and I've had the same Gengar, some of the same Pokemon since I was young, or like since black and white.
Yeah, that's 2000. That's 2008.
Yeah,
so you weren't exactly.
So I've lifted them up. They've been in my Pokebank.
Yeah,
and now it's called Poke Home.
It's been a long time ago.
But I've kept them.
That's 16 years
forever. Right? So now I'm playing through the game like the DLC with those Pokemon that I had, and it's kind of corny, but like I think that's super fun.
Yeah, I think it's cool too. Well, here's the thing. I will say I also don't like. There's some cool. I'll say they're at least getting back on track with the designs of the Pokemon, because for a while I was like, okay. For me, it was like, it's like, dude, if people like Trubbish, that's perfectly fine. I was just like, I don't understand what they were thinking.
No, I see what you mean. I mean,
same with the ice cream.
It gets to a point where
the ice cream's cool.
I don't like all of them. It's like I'm like, dude, that's super cool.
Yeah, I'm not trying to like bash people.
I tend to lean towards the first through third.
The first three, or four, 1 to 4 usually.
Honestly,
1 to 5 actually.
Really, X and Y is about where I like stop caring that much, like about seeing all the new Pokemon.
Yeah, it's because it's like Corviknight was the coolest. Like even seeing him, he was like the coolest looking.
That was in
and that's Sword and
sometimes there are cool ones where you're like, whoa.
But the problem is like it's like, dude, make another evolution. That's another easy thing you could do. How about an actual? How about not a dark evolution, because they already had that. Yeah, like I said, Umbreon? I like Umbreon, but I feel like they still.
Who's your favorite?
I think
mine's SP.
Umbreon's my favorite because I had just my inner child edgelord was in me, where I was just like, I just love the dark, like the red eyes. I don't think about how cute see, most people are like, how cute is this? I'm like, oh, sometimes
I just gotta go with which one I thought's the coolest.
Yeah, sometimes I think something's cool. Sometimes I think something's cute. Jolteon's pretty cool.
It was Vaporeon for a long time.
Yeah, Vaporeon was too, dude. Same.
Then I switched to
Espeon. But I'll say Jolteon, the way they draw him is always cool. He always has like a cool.
They're all cool. All the
evolutions are cool. I feel like, and here's the thing, Sylveon. I think it's kind of it's cute. That's all it is. Sylveon is that's all it is. That's all it is. Type. And also the fairy type. The fairy type was also just an odd.
Like in general?
Just in general.
I think it's a good...
It's a good idea, I'm saying, but it's like, it's interesting. Like, you go from, like, dragon all the way to fairy, which makes sense because it's like a legend thing, but I don't remember fairies ever defeating dragons in almost anything. Is it like a Sleeping Beauty reference?
I think it's also part of them trying to balance out dragon type.
Which makes sense.
Like a little bit.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
But... So yeah, like the DLC.
What else do you have? Have you seen any like what? Get into the specifics with like the towns and stuff.
They're just like so. It's one thing that's cool is you pick your own clothes and you have like a school uniform. That was a little bit I didn't like too much. I get it because you're a student at a school. And that part of the
that is the most
being a student is a cool.
That is the most part. Japanese thing ever. You have to wear a school uniform.
Yeah, and you can style it. There's other things you can style, but like it's pretty much a school uniform. But in this one, you go, and then it's kind of cool because they give you a new outfit and new clothes, and you're kind of like they let you like match in with the island. And I kind of like
Yeah.
how they like kind of envelop you into like, oh, you're kind of like learning the culture of this new like area.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Well, that's like the other games talked about that too. You got the ruins of Alf and
Exactly.
stuff.
So there's a lot of the towns are cool. It's very like it's kind of like Arceus a little bit. It's not as old timey, but like kind of like that.
Yeah,
But I kind of like that though. Like
yeah,
that.
I think that's an interesting description. I was expecting more of like a brick kind of buildings and like more towny looks.
They aren't like it's not
More
super
brickish,
old-timey.
like-
it's still
like-
it's not as far back as Arceus.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking a 40s aesthetic would always be cool. Brick buildings, jazz. But that's their. Yeah, but what I was gonna say
is pretty much always now though. Besides
Yeah, it
Arceus.
is. Oh, dude,
it's like always been like
it's always now.
recent.
And in fact, they're so ambiguous. They already have futuristic technology we ended up having in the future.
Yeah.
They basically predicted.
Now they have
it
like
in
a
some ways.
floating. You have a cell phone. It's like a floating Pokemon.
Yeah, the
It's your cell phone.
Rotom cell phone.
I
thing,
like that.
I am just like
I definitely liked it better when they were ghosts.
I liked it better when he was just like a ghost you find. Like
He's like the dishwasher.
yeah, the old Chateau. Now I will say that being the only part of it was like okay, so you hype me up.
The old
ghosts.
Chateau. That's another thing. It's like,
Yeah,
whenever we
it's
get anything like creepy like that.
It's like it, and it's Pokemon. See, even nowadays, it's like it's Pokemon. It's weird that like it reminds me. They kind of were like, oh, they looked at Luigi's Mansion kind of, and they were like, oh, there's a little bit of an eeriness to this. But what's spooky about it is the music. First off, I think the remake didn't do a justice to the original tune of that. But what was nice about it was kind of out of the way. And you go there, you see the gym leader talking about it. Not the gym leader, it's this other lady. She has like green hair, and she's like, "Oh hey."
What do you mean by remake?
Oh, the Diamond Pearl remake.
Oh, that's the chibi one.
Yeah. And but the music.
Did you make it there in the?
No, I didn't. But
okay.
but I may have like
You got the chibi one,
passed it.
didn't you?
Yeah, or I may have went in there for a little bit, but I need to play.
See,
more of it.
that's one that I haven't played. I would love to play that again. I haven't played Diamond and Pearl
See,
in so long.
That's why. But what's funny about it is it's out of your way. You just find a random mansion out of nowhere. It's the weirdest. Like you're just like, oh, I'm going for the gyms. I'm looking for Pokemon. I walk into Eterna Forest, which it's already weird enough as it is. There's like fog in the forest, so I'm like, okay, I'm with this green-haired girl running around. We're fighting trainers, and then you go to the mansion. And she's like, oh, it's kind of weird. It's kind of spooky. She's like, oh, this place is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
I don't go in there. I've heard there's ghosts in there. And then you go in there, and then you hear the music, and you're like, this is very strange. Am I playing a different game?
Yeah.
Am I playing like the Witch's House game?
What
If
do you
you've
think
ever
when you
seen
first
that.
went in there, like when you were a kid?
I was like, okay, so what are they doing?
It kind of creeped me
here?
out.
I was like,
I'm not
okay.
gonna lie.
I was
It's
like,
kinda how Lavender Town did when I was young.
I was like, this is kind of spooky. Well, Lavender Town's like a lot more heavy-handed. Also,
True.
It's dead Pokemon in trainers mourning the death of them.
Yeah, true.
But like with this, it's like a lot more subtle. It's like okay, it's a mansion. The music's pretty spooky. I'm gonna go upstairs. Of course, they pick a little girl for this.
Yeah,
in a bedroom, and then whoosh, disappears. You go back downstairs into the kitchen. Butler, whoosh, gone.
Yeah.
And you can keep making them appear over and over, but you have no clue what they're even doing. And I'm thinking in my head, like, even as a kid, I was like, "Oh, this is terrifying."
Yeah, me too.
I was like, why is there a little girl up there floating? She doesn't have a walking animation.
Yeah.
See, I've thought of borrowing tricks from that if I ever made like a haunted type thing,
for sure.
because it's like it's like turning off a simple thing, making the music slightly spooky, and then also making characters float away and disappear. It's just weird seeing like the usual colorful game kind of. I going there at night in the new version is definitely a lot more intense though. They actually change the lighting of the building.
Oh,
like
really?
they make it darker.
Did the chibi style look good? Like, did it?
I thought it looked fine. People are
I
like,
haven't
oh
really
my
looked
gosh,
at it.
it's so bad. I'm like, I'd actually be okay with this style.
Yeah, it looked cool.
I was like, it's like, yeah, it's not Oris, but I wish everything looked like freaking Oris, but that's perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine with a chibi aesthetic. I'm like, I would never complain. I was not like, oh my gosh, they went to chibi. I'm like, this reminds me of why I even liked Pokemon, was because of how they just used simple things.
Yeah.
Like, they used a simple art style that no one... Seriously, they could have kept doing that till the end of time.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And it's fine to do a change, but you get what I'm saying. It's like, this is what I thought they should have... in the old Chateau, like I was saying, I don't want to get off track.
No, I'm basically done with what I was talking about.
But with the old Chateau, it's like... It's off the beaten path. And that's what's nice. You just find a random... And it's in a DS
There
game.
was something like that was in Sun and Moon too.
Yeah, there's like a other haunted mansion. It wasn't as like the old Chateau was like boom and like
it
way
wasn't
more
as,
dramatic.
But I was still like, oh, they added like haunted stuff.
Yeah,
which is cool.
And what's annoying about the Chateau is the fact that there's no explanation, which is great, which is awesome. It's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. About it. See, the video is completely incorrect entirely.
But you would. It's fun to theorize with that when you don't know.
Well, what's funny is the video was me actually debunking. I was actually debunking. I was like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. If anything, in the one I explained, I was like, this one's a more believable explanation that Rotom had to do have something to do with it. But I was still like, yeah, it still isn't like set in stone.
We don't know anything about that old Chateau at all.
We know a little bit about it. I think like we have no idea why the ghosts are there still. People are like, oh, it's just because the Ghastlies and the Hunters. And I'm like, dude, when has a Ghastly in the games ever transformed into a person? When has that ever happened? That is a very specific thing to happen. Why is there a little girl and why is there a butler? What? Like I said, what? I want to understand what their thought process.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I was like trying to think if I can recall anything of them doing that.
Like, what was the thought process behind that? Were they just like, oh, let's just add a random mansion, or were they like,
what were the?
Was there an actual? I've always thought that maybe Darkrai could be there. Like, I was like, the way I said it in my video.
Why would you think Darkrai is there?
Because Darkrai is, Darkrai is associated with like he's a ghost. I mean, he's a ghost too. He's a ghost. I was like, why would you put him on some random island? There's an expansion you can get, an event more like where you find Darkrai on an island that it plays the same old Chateau music. But what I'm saying is
that's interesting.
It is. They reused it, which that's
kind of cool though. What if that was a hint?
I wish. That's what's annoying. So you're gonna put him on an island, but he's not gonna be in the mansion. I'm only saying it because like he haunts people. Let's say someone goes to sleep there, they're gonna have nightmares because of Darkrai. Yeah, they probably die because of Darkrai. Yeah, because Dream Eater. Think about that. Yeah, it's like Pokemon never delved into that. Like people actually dying
from Pokemon.
Yeah, obviously the manga did that. Even the movies actually. The movies actually had death too. For some reason though, the games, like that's one thing I wanted. I was like, okay, can I figure out who these people at least were before they died? Like, there's a story here.
I thought we had more info than that. I didn't know
there was like that little. The only thing is that Sharon, from the scientist guy, he's like this scientist guy from Team Galactic. He's like, he's like us, but he's he has like this like Wily-esque hair. I'll even put the picture in post, but. Yeah, he basically went there as a kid. He would play with Rotom there as a kid, and they would hang out. And then at some point, something happened, and then he ran the crap out of there and left.
So he may know what happened there.
Yeah, there's like a journal that goes more into it, but it's not what you think. I originally I was like, oh, dude, it's such a crazy thing. I should make a whole video about this, and I'm like, no, I'm not making a whole video about this because. It doesn't deserve a whole video. It's way less interesting than the theories that are presented, but that's just because, fans are able to actually go to a place that, yet they get away with Majora's Mask, a dark game. But for some reason, they put a mansion here. And
I'm surprised they did it at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. They had the abandoned...
Actually, I don't know, Lavender Town. I keep forgetting Lavender Town.
Lavender Town is nice because it at least commits to what it's trying to do. Oh, this is a tower filled with dead Pokemon. And Pokemon aren't just like animals, they have some form of sentience, and they're dead.
Yeah.
So it's like okay, I get this. And the music going da 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 da. Now, like I said, and there's a remake. If you ever play Fire Red and Leaf Green, they kind of take Ruby and Sapphire sounds and kind of mix them with.
That's cool.
And make it like a new, but it's still not as creepy. Like people are like, dude, it's so terrifying. I'm like, it's terrifying because of the concept. The old Chateau is terrifying because
Music
it's possibly
really
dead
good.
people.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
We're talking dead people.
We're talking dead
ghosts wandering
people.
around that you know nothing about, and you're alone.
You're alone.
At least in Lavender Town, you're like with people.
Yeah. You have people there. You have NPCs. There's no one here.
Yeah.
And your companion who you travel with through the woods is just saying, hey, this is creepy. I'm not going in here.
Mm-hmm.
You could go in there yourself. Thanks for getting me through the woods. With the trainers that for some reason are like, let's battle like every 5 seconds. But then, you go from that and then you just see an old mansion. And that was probably the best side thing I've ever done in a Pokemon game. And then when I saw Rotom, I was kind of like, he's cool, but then the creep factor just kind of shoots out the door like a freaking, it's like,
oh, Rotom, cool, and then you're like, oh, this creepy thing, way crazy, way
it's like,
crazy.
oh, there's horrifying, it's like, oh, cool, there's a Rotom.
So did you see? So I don't really want to look it up because I'm probably gonna get that Diamond and Pearl version just to play.
I think it was explained in like a different game though.
No, I'm saying like I don't want to spoil it in the sense of like I don't want to see what it looks like.
Oh yeah,
The
remake. Because I looked at comparison photos of videos of it because I was like, okay, how much did this change? And the best part about it is the lighting.
Gotcha.
They didn't like touch it up that much. The paintings do.
Is it chibi even when you're battling?
No.
So your
it's like the regular games.
Gotcha.
They fully go into like.
What do you think made him make that decision to chibi?
I mean, it was quicker.
I think it's awesome.
And I think it is supposed to be nostalgic. I mean, if you just
like the old.
I mean, it's like
because in the old ones, your character also looked more
chibi-ish,
but they didn't look chibi-ish when you were fighting.
Yeah.
It was similar. So
they looked
literally
like
the
anime.
same.
They just looked like anime.
So they probably thought they were doing like a retro.
Yeah, and this it's the same thing with Oris was even more.
This is what I'm saying with people whining though. They're always like, oh, this is like the old style, and then they try to give you kind of a mix of both, and then they're like, oh,
this is too much like the old style.
Why would you do a full remake and not do chibi? It's like, okay, so when they don't do them chibi, you're mad, and then when they do them chibi, you're mad.
Yeah, and this is where that's what's funny.
Think about it.
That's what's funny.
Because dude,
yeah. What I was gonna say
too much water
about
in this
Oris.
game.
Well, that was.
I'm like, dude, you are so dumb.
Everyone banded with the community, and they're like, dude, who cares? Everybody was like, we were not thinking too much.
But I mean, when that happened, when that was like first,
they were like,
everybody was like, yeah.
They're like, your career is over, sister.
Even though that it's got to be one of the best. In the whole series.
Dude, it's hard because I like.
And then they remade it so well.
I think it's my favorite, especially, dude. I still play the freaking OG, dude. It's just.
Me too.
I will say this: they were lucky in one way, though. See, the complaints weren't with Oris because
OG just released all that on the Switch.
That's what I was thinking, dude.
I feel like people would buy it.
I mean, does Nintendo have any business sense?
No, you're right. I don't even know.
The video I made even talked about that.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm asking because they don't even think about. They're not even good at making money.
Yeah, click the annotation I'm going to throw up there to that video just for.
Yeah,
so I'm going to throw that even for the old Chateau. So, yeah, you get to see Squeaky Me. But anywho, because my mic was bad, I was like 18 at the time, and it made me sound worse. It made me sound worse, literally. But what I was saying is so Oris got away with it. It wasn't chibi. It was like a midway between them. The characters were tall.
Oris was not chibi.
Yeah, it was not chibi. Normal. They were much more normal. The heads were still a little bit big, but
I like how they look. I wish they looked like that now.
See, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's what's funny. But you know why they didn't stick close to chibi? Because the original sprites were not really chibi. They had dot eyes and they had small heads.
But they just had but they were kind of big.
Now in Diamond and Pearl, their heads took up like
But it wasn't like they were bigger because they were trying to make him chibi.
No,
I think
no.
they were just bigger because they wanted to make it so you could see the face and stuff.
Well,
So they have
actually,
to make the head a little bigger.
actually, we'll even.
Yeah, pull up some sprites.
Yeah, we'll pull up some sprites. Okay. I had to,
sprite.
yeah, we had to cut something out, but it's him goofing around. But we'll, if you're eagle-eyed, you'll see exactly what he was doing. All right, so the sprites. So let's go Gen 3. Brendan.
Oh, dude, the art was so good in the pamphlet, dude, and on the game. Look at that, dude.
It looked more anime-esque, which was nice. So I'm going sprite. So the sprite. Obviously we're gonna have to do some zooming in because, and I do this all the time when I look at. Oh my gosh. Okay, open image in tab. New tab. Oh, it's just making me download it, so I'll just go for a different image. But we'll find it. So that's Diamond Pearl style. Like I said, these people really.
Would it be easier to just look at it from here? Maybe not.
Well, because I'm trying to get a little bit bigger.
Oh, that's
this
good.
is in the ballpark. The head is not that big.
It isn't, but it is.
It's chibi.
It had to make it. I don't think it's because they were trying to do chibi though.
Yeah,
they weren't.
They weren't going for chibi in Gen 3.
They're just trying to make it so
This is a little more touched up. But
look how good the sprites
I'll just go to the page. Yeah,
like when you're actually in battle, it looks so.
Let's go to the page. So this is what they actually look like, and I really enjoy the.
I forgot, dude. The sprite from from behind you too,
and they freaking animate.
Like from behind you, yeah.
They animate, dude. That was, and look at that. Like, it's beautiful. I love the freaking look of this personally, and same with the sprites. Honestly, I have a very close attachment. Maybe it's my goggles of nostalgia, but for me, that's kind of my favorite.
I love
in terms of the way the sprite looks.
I love Pokemon looking that way too.
So we go
like Golden Sun too, like those kind of games. Like that.
I remember watching you play that. So we go to Diamond. So this is chibi. I'll even say this right here. This is like the characters are straight up chibi in this game. You don't even have to like
Korra.
Yeah, that's freaking Avatar mixed with. It's like this. Obviously, this guy screwed up major on the hair there, but the eyes are literally the same, like type of, genuinely the same type of. Where's freaking, what is his name?
Dude, look up Wally sprite.
What is his name? Ethan. That's yeah. I mean, this still counts because they did Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and it's the same style. So this is what I'm talking about. This is much more chibi.
It is. It looks. Oh yeah.
It's much more chibi, and I like it. Like I said, I love it. But if people are complaining, blame the original games because the original games look like this. Yeah. They have heads like this. Okay, that's why people aren't complaining about Ruby and Sapphire because you can kind of read into the details of the sprite. With this, it just looks like this.
He looks so cool too,
and I think he looks great. Like I love the way the art looks in this. I mean, it's still the same as Gen 3 in some ways, minus the heads. The heads are obviously
a really good job.
Obviously a little bit more rotund and
Let me see what the sprites look like in the remake for.
Oh yeah, it's not even a sprite. It's like a 3D model.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, like, what does it look like?
I'll even show you.
I want to compare just since we looked at the.
I'll even show you. This is more akin to, and I think that looks great.
How are people not like?
Yeah, it's like people are interesting. It's like, what would you rather have? And it didn't take out the looks of it either. See, it didn't.
I love the lighting at night.
Yeah, see, it didn't ruin. It didn't completely ruin the style. See, that's how you do it, Game Freak. Mm-hmm. You don't make things flat. You make things look. This
looks very good.
You make things look really good. You don't make things flat, dude. That's. There's light going through the window. There's a lot of.
I can't possibly see why you'd be upset about.
Yeah, I don't get the remake being bad. Good. Now, like I said, obviously Oris.
Now see, this is what I think they should be look like.
Yeah, like the colors pop a ton.
It is a little cheapy. You're right.
It's a little bit, but definitely they're taller and they're closer to the actual artwork. You know,
this is what I think that they should look like.
Oh, agreed. It's a lot. There's Brawly. You know,
Brawly.
bro. And the cutscenes are really cool in this. They have like
the
actual
cutscenes
camera
were
shifting.
Amazing.
See, they never had that in any of like they had sort of cutscenes, but this
Not
really
this good. This is probably the best.
They actually.
This is the one where you fly on.
Yeah, you fly
dude, because Steve's in this.
Yeah, Steven's in.
He is so cool.
Steven Stone is awesome. We'll even look at some of the crazy cutscenes.
Yeah.
Mystery of the Ghost Ship. Yeah,
dude, Oris was so good.
This video,
they should just copy.
This video that I'm watching is a bust.
They should just copy Oris.
Oh, agreed.
Like style.
We're gonna skip ahead. See, there's like actual camera angles. There's actual like, and this is probably the only game that like did this kind of like stuff. Look at that. Like it's so simple, but it works.
Awesome. This is a DS,
and this is on a 3DS. And the thing is, this and the way the colors are, the limitations almost make the colors look better.
Yeah,
like that's the thing. Why is everything so flat?
Yeah, it is. You're right. Yeah.
Like even this.
Dude, look how good he looks. That is how they should look in the
game. Like even and this is like the outside of battle sprites. Yeah. I mean models. I said the exact same thing, but it's like even with this stuff, even with like the in-game models, they look very.
Oh, they look so good. Look at that.
It's like I will say the camera angle was pretty funny here. Why is it looking at his feet there? But what's funny is like this is how I wanted it to look too.
Yeah.
No one complained about this style because it looks.
This is how I would want.
Like poke.
Obviously the graphics look better. But to have it that style.
But like, and I also like the color. I will say the colors are. I feel definitively better in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the thing.
Yes, look at all that.
Yeah, look at.
That's what I'm saying.
It's very intense.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't look the same like that in Scarlet.
Also, very cinematic. The camera angles are very cinematic. Look at that.
So cool.
Like that's what you should aim for. See, that's what you should aim for.
Yeah.
When it comes to your this is the future. We're not doing they zoom in on the people and they're like
Violet. Now look at Scarlet and Violet.
Like they do the
Violet.
Now you have to make me put more movie clips in. My boy, let's see what we got here.
Spoil it for you, dude.
Yeah,
I
I might play it.
It's fun.
It's just for me. Like I said, I am a linear son of a gun when it comes to the way worlds are designed. So for me, if I've already said what I wanted to say about Wind Waker, but
so there's things about it that look awesome.
There's things about it that look awesome, but it's like
still not as
this.
What I want.
I don't know what it is. Like there's not as much.
They were trying too hard to make it look too real. Like too people.
Yeah, I don't really. I'm with you. This is very flat in terms of like this.
The graphics look awesome.
The graphics look awesome, but like the colors look
they're very bland compared
to like they're flat. This looks like something I'd see from like a Unity asset store.
Yeah,
in some ways, it gets the job done. It doesn't look
too
bad.
bright.
And also, this is a slideshow. Why would you put a slideshow? Look at that. There's no characters moving at all. This is your newest next-gen game.
Dude, now they're moving. Battling, dude.
Okay, I am not a fan of... Not a fan of the presentation here, dude. They
get better, but
it's just so...
Some of the cutscenes in this are crazy.
Like, look at this. It's like, what are these characters doing? Look at this. The way they walk, the way they like... They're almost over-animated. In a way, like they're,
but the towns are like just really.
It's like they're.
Here's a cool one.
Yeah, this reminds me of that other game. It's the same style. It's a lot more cinematic.
Yeah.
It just looks that way. Lighting's better there. That's a perfect intro. That's a perfect intro to a game. See, that's interesting. It doesn't look gamey.
Yeah, watch. It's really. This is where I was watching this and I was like.
It's like this could be a movie.
Like this is an insane. And for the Switch, that's what I got. People don't understand. It's like, dude, Nintendo released the Switch forever ago.
Yeah, it's like 2017,
and it wasn't even that great then.
No,
so it's like, what do you?
Yeah, it's like
I'm like they're kind of doing pretty well with the limits that they have.
Which, like I said, like I've even said in past video, plugging again. This they really need to take the shackles off.
Yeah, we need a new Switch, and it needs to be like We have the tech now where you can make a dope Switch too.
And also, here's a even better idea.
Obviously for Pokemon,
put it on everything.
Switch immediately.
Put it on everything, just like I said.
Ooh, that would never happen.
Yeah, well,
That'd be awesome.
Guess what? I mean, Miyamoto's getting up there. He's in his 70s. The people are getting old, dude.
So you think if they...
I'm saying that's what I presented in the video. I was like, if the old guard goes,
You think that Nintendo will then let
dude,
everywhere?
think about it. Someday they will. They'll have to. But right now they're in this mode where
So this place is cool.
Like, see, this is fine. I will say this guy, the customization options this man has used.
Well, that's just how you don't get to customize yourself.
That hat
That's just how you look right away.
That's
You can customize your hair and stuff. But I think you have the same costume with that star. But you can change it later. I think the starters were cool in this one too. Like so
that is
cute.
a weird looking.
Like
Is
Elvis.
it like Donald Duck or something? Like,
And then this is. I almost picked this.
I would have picked the cat just
But
because
I picked this hilarious derpy
that thing
Fuecoco.
looks. Yeah, dude. That.
He's so derpy looking. That's
Oh
why I
yeah,
picked
we
him.
ranked it. I put him pretty low in the design.
Yeah. I picked him. He was so
Design.
cute.
He's not bad though. Honestly,
He's such a
He's
dirt.
just
He's like.
weird looking.
He's like.
He's just weird looking. I will say this. I do like the way this is like
She looks good.
animated,
too.
but I will say there's something about the eyes that's a little like, maybe it's the way the light is. Like I said, it's the way the shading is. That's a little bit like, you're right about the realism thing. They leaned a little too.
So he didn't
heavy
have
into
to do that. It does look good.
It looks
like look.
Good.
I love how the clothes. Look at the texture on the clothes. I love that.
Yeah, they used the old normal map.
Not that we needed that, but
and that's awesome.
I like it.
But the problem is like I said, this face, like it's the way the eyes look. They are too realistic. It's the eyes. The eyes are the.
I like that they're realistic, but yeah,
it's like it's almost at least cartoonified.
That is part of why it's not the same style.
You know what this could use? Cell shading, like Wind Waker. I think that would really.
That would help.
I think that would actually fix what I'm talking about, because I will say these angles are so weird and the pants are just uncomfortable. Yeah, the knickerbockers look like real tight on him, dude.
Yeah,
it's like.
So I'm like watching this cutscene and I'm like,
it is cool.
Graphically, I was like, this is
great.
actually kind of insane for the Switch.
Especially for the Switch.
Which people can't say that.
Which
They're always like,
I will say,
oh, it's really good. And I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
they're not wrong.
Insane for the Switch is,
it's like it's the Switch. Like, what are you expecting?
It's a very stubborn Japanese company. Very stubborn Japanese company.
Like, I'm surprised it runs as well as it does.
Yeah, this is cool. Okay, I will say this is pretty funny. Watch this. Watch the frame rate tank. Like tanks. Like tanks. I thought they were masters of optimization, dude. They're like.
They're still like pushing. They're definitely like pushing.
They're almost pushing too hard. I feel like you don't need to go this crazy where it's like where you're having like this massive like particle explosion.
I mean,
like,
it looks pretty good.
It looks good, but I'm saying
I understand what you mean.
When you're thinking about,
I think that they were definitely like. I think that they were like, look, we'll just have a little bit of a frame drop here, but we'll have this cool thing. Like, even that.
It's just interesting. It's interesting watching this.
Look, I was like, for the Switch running that, like, not bad.
I will say, why does every character in these games just kind of like every main character is just kind of very
confused,
blank slatey? Like they try so hard to do the blank slate thing. Let people talk in a Pokemon game. I'm sorry, just let them talk.
I wouldn't mind if it was voice acted at all.
Yeah, it's like just dude, them going.
I still like that too, but I would much rather.
It's like it just,
especially because this game is very chatty.
Yeah,
it's so there's like a lot of reading.
It's like with the old games, that's fine because they ran on Game Boys. Like this is on actual modern tech. What the? I mean, if Detective Pikachu can do it, see, this is a decent battle.
Yeah, and I'm like watching this, and I'm like, this is like right away. You're seeing all this. I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah, that intro was the beginning parts were misleading when it comes to how off it kind of looked. Because the beginning was. It's almost kind of Twilight Princess-y, where it has this. But Twilight Princess, what's nice about it is, like I said again, color grading. Color grading really, really makes things
Yeah.
a difference. And I will say, how is this making the frame rate? Like, all he's doing is just going, and there's a little bit of dust.
The Switch, man,
How did Luigi's Mansion? No. The first Luigi's Mansion had dust. You know,
I think it's more than just the dust. Like, look at the wall.
Like that's
that looks pretty crazy for Switch.
It's like, no. That's the thing. We always have to preface it.
Like, I feel like this is where the Switch is like at its limits.
It's reached its which, like I said, it looks great. It doesn't
help with all the textures they added with like the
bumps in them. Yeah,
it's like you didn't have to.
See, this stuff looks great,
but it looks good.
Like, this looks great, but the problem is, like I said,
he's a little. The colors are too realistic.
It's too realistic. It's too, dude.
I want the colors to be more anime-like.
Wind Waker it up, like the lighting, the color.
Or just be like Oris.
Yeah, like, why is this so?
I'm okay with it being real, but the lighting could have been.
Realism is fine.
The lighting is too bright all the time. But that's what I think.
See.
Why does it look like he has a spotlight on him and there's no color?
Yeah, it's like there's no shading at all.
Color of shade at all.
Notice the other games had like.
I'm not a color pro, but I'm saying Oris, you're in the cave. Look at how they have like shadows on their face. They have. Like,
you don't even have to be a color pro to appreciate it. You appreciate the way things look. Like, you're just admiring.
He changed his hat.
Yeah, that's.
How did that even happen?
He must have cut. Well, it is all the cutscenes, so he must have edited.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It's very heavily edited. So I will say the style looks very odd. Like I said, you were right about the school uniform. It's a little bit like
there's cool looking school uniforms, but still, like you can't make it so I can't wear school.
Yeah, uniforms. it's like I was never like I'd customize in certain games.
I think in the DLC they added a bunch of stuff that isn't just school clothes.
Like, we'll even skip ahead just to see some more stuff. Okay, there's some flashier. Okay, see this.
This is better.
See, this girl here looks more like what I'd expect the characters to actually look like. That boy. Yeah, and this guy, like, he looks more like the art from the actual games, just a little more. You know, now this is like the weebiest looking group of people there, but
I love how this girl looks in the EV with the EV backpack.
I think this girl is probably my favorite, though. But that's, she's like the most furry one, of course. But yeah, no, they look. See, this is interesting. The designs are at least like interesting here.
Well, it's more of like, okay, this is what I would expect.
Yeah,
like,
Pokemon's very flashy looking. The main characters are
always flashy.
The dudes are like more serious and kind of more trendy looking, but like the girls are more, flashy. Or like the do-rags and the, flashy. All right, so this, see, this looks cool. There's some lighting.
Look,
there's some lighting.
Better.
What? Yeah, where was this in the cave scene? Like,
but even on them, why is it always on them? It's like,
it's like,
why don't we have why isn't it darker and you have like shots from the
you're talking
monitor.
About like, the front of them being darker.
Like, why does it look like he has a spotlight on?
Yeah, on his back. Yeah, dude. See, I always struggle with that. Why would you have it
darker and then have like a... See how the screen's blue? Why wouldn't you have that
have the blue illuminating him? Like,
it's like things. That's what...
Old games did that!
Unless it's just too much for the Switch to handle.
From like,
I feel like it shouldn't be.
Early 2000s did that. Yeah. The PS1 era did that.
Because it's doing it for the rest of the room. Why does the character have to be like in a
why is he like lit?
Look at the whiteboard. The whiteboard's getting blue kind of from the screen.
Yeah, he's like lit completely.
So it's like, why is he? That's what I'm saying.
That's the problem. Like, it's like if I had a light.
Like he has a sunlight
on me everywhere, and that's a sin of many.
It's like he's on a play, like a stage on a play, and it's like
Well, he feels disconnected from the world. Exactly, and that's not even.
That's where I was like, I don't like this stuff.
Yeah, it's like.
Because look how the lighting in the room was. See, like, this is better.
Yeah, this is better. But then she's like, also.
But then again, like, right away. So that looks good.
Does she have sharp teeth?
I think she does.
Yeah, what the?
Yeah, she does.
What's with the vampire looking? The old vampire.
So this is like, why did the lighting go from like better to like shining so bright again?
Yeah, it's like it goes from this like this. Yeah,
I know it's like them looking, but the whole room should just look like.
It should look like that. Guess what? Kingdom Hearts freaking did that, dude.
That is like, there's no way the screen's making your face that bright, dude.
It's not like whoosh, he's like, yeah, it's too blown
Just
out.
be more subtle.
It's too blown out.
That's it. And I think it could have looked, because you saw how the room looked, so they know how to do it.
Well, even the world, like, it's just so
I just think that
bright.
it should have been less bright and more like orangey.
Yeah.
So then it looks like then it makes you think about more Paradise stuff too, because clearly it's like a.
It's like even Ruby and Sapphire knew this kind of stuff. Even the old game did.
This is better, but it's still. Why is it brighter inside than outside?
Yeah, look at how bright that freaking sun is.
Yeah. But it's inside the house was brighter.
Yeah, it's like blown up to high. Yeah, it was brighter.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, dude,
what is with this over? Like, it's almost irritating to the eyes, kind of.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
the stage is set.
It's how I feel about Kingdom Hearts 3. It's too bright.
It's my all-out power.
We'll say the dialogue is hilarious. I've never seen anyone use the word fruition as like
fruition.
I've never used fruition unless it's like, oh, my plans are coming to fruition. I only use that jokingly. Okay, I will say they couldn't have had like an intro cutscene of her like throwing the Pokeball out and doing something.
They do. He's for some reason just isn't showing it.
Yeah, it's like I was worried. I was like, okay, so is she like depressed or something? Like
she's stoked. They just make you think she's sad. Everybody's like, and then she's like, "That was awesome." Your character again.
Yeah, see, it's like every Nintendo character.
But look at how much the other people animate. Why can't you just make our characters do that?
Yeah, it's also the design. This guy, like, it's the design of the base human. The base human looks generic. It's just, he just does.
I will say Sword and Shield had way more options of what you could look like.
I feel like Sword and Shield's, even the eyes in Sword and Shield were maybe a little bit better.
I think the Sword and Shield, that's what I was trying to say, was the style in Sword and Shield I liked better.
Let's even switch to that.
Sword and Shield cutscenes.
Yeah, because we can add...
So we get the gist of this. There's some really cool cutscenes, but...
Yeah, it's like, let's...
Look at... Yeah.
Oh, dude,
just an opening cutscene. Honestly, a lot about this game was good.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the story arc of the battling was good.
Oh, yeah, dude, the tournaments was a cool concept. Look at that. The character looks better. He already looks way better.
Saying. The lighting looks better.
Yes.
The eyes look better. This is what I'm saying. This is why I was trying to say, like, I wish it was
They're also less subtle with the way they move.
Also, look how good the lighting is.
He moves more like
the silver, like the silvery lights, so he has, like, silver... So look, he's in a stadium, and it's less bright than when they were in a dark ship.
Yeah, it's like...
So, I don't know what happened, but...
It's like, we'll even go for a couple more scenes.
We should. Oh, please do.
Yeah, no, because we'll even see this. Like
even the cutscenes are epic.
Look at this. Yeah. I love that character design. Look at the eyes. That looks great. Me too, that looks like the art from the books.
This is what I was trying to say was... That's why I was like, I wish it was like Sword and Shield. Because this is more like Oris. But this is like an improvement on Oris as opposed to...
Yes, this is an improvement.
They switched it up totally in a way for Scarlet and Violet when I was like, this was great.
Yeah, this was fine. The presentation looks great.
And the world design was great.
And that's a perfect way to intro it. Like people may have critiqued this game.
Well, it's just it wasn't because of how it looked.
Yeah,
look at how it
looks way more vibrant.
Annoying, but like, and they're always like, "Oi, mate!" But
yeah,
look at
the Australian thing. Yeah, I agree.
Look at this. I love this.
It was okay when the emo girl did it, but it's just like when everybody else is going "oi" all the time. I mean, yeah, that's like, yeah. Look at how expressive they look.
Character is, yeah. Look how expressive your character is.
He's like expressive. He's interested in what's happening. And the other one, he's just like
looks great. There's no frame drops.
He's just mouth agape.
Like, dude, just keep it like this, man.
What are people talking about? Like,
and look at this is what I feel like it should look like in daytime. It's not so overpoweringly bright.
It's
like
not
I'm in the
too
desert.
Bright, like you're in a
look
desert.
At that. The shade on the tree. The
animation. Honestly, the way the
look at the shadow from behind. Everything is better.
The other one looks like it's kind of from the other one looks older. That's the thing.
I almost don't. If it wasn't for some of the textures and stuff, I agree. Totally.
Like we'll even forward. Like even how'd they do this crowd? If
15 minutes of cutscenes in this game.
Yeah, even though probably
Sword and Shield had way more. I mean, Scarlet and Violet had way more.
So even
but look at how good it looks.
Yeah,
look at this.
Great art design.
Oh, look, there's some orange. There's shadows.
Yeah, there's shadows. It's orange. It looks way more.
The eyes make more
look at this.
sense.
She's pondering
She's
things.
unique.
She's animated.
She's clearly animated.
She's not just like this.
Like
Seriously, what?
yeah, look at that. I can tell she's like smiling.
Yeah,
she's excited.
she's cute. See, that's cute.
Yes, exactly.
It's supposed to be.
And look at the lighting here compared to. If it was the other one, it would be shining bright on your head.
Also, the camera angles are great in this. Like they're great.
Yeah,
they're focusing on stuff that matters. Like it's just funny to see you're both tapping your feet.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff to see here.
It looks like he has a penis on his head, but
yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah, the beanies are always. I always thought beanies looked.
They kind of do, but that one's like real. It's like a bottle pop.
Yeah, no,
Pop the
that's
top.
Yeah, that was.
Flip it and shake it.
What is he? See, like he's excited. He's excited.
Yes,
but yeah, I think that.
No, keep going. I want to see a little bit more because it's crazy seeing the content.
I want to see
Look
more.
at that.
I want
So
to see more
nighttime.
lighting. We're gonna see more
At
lighting for
nighttime.
the rest of the episode.
Wait, yeah.
We'll go like 10 minutes, and I think we can.
Really? Oh wait. Oh yeah.
We're gonna go. We're gonna go like 10 minutes. I say.
Okay.
Of just watching
Sounds
this
good,
thing
yeah.
instead of just to like comment on
talk about it. And I don't notice it as much, but I don't think about it as much when you mention it. I think about it, but in this game, when I went to Sword and Shield, or when I was like, yeah, something about Sword and Shield I like better. The lighting is definitely part of it.
Like, see, even this, like, this is dramatic looking. This is dramatic. It's intense.
It's really cool.
Like there's a lot of like tense feelings here. Even the freaking GameCube game had a better like sense of drama and sense of like, the way the characters moved.
There's a lot of cool stuff in Scarlet and Violet. It's just that I just think the lighting and character character design was better.
And presentation is a big deal.
Exactly.
Like it is, especially
this feels like Pokemon. Scarlet and Violet it's just like a different direction.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, this looks like
I don't know if they'll
Pokemon.
stick with it or not, because I know the next game we're going to be an X and Y as well.
Well, they'll probably go back to some form
Like this?
of like style
That would be
closer
cool.
to this, maybe
That would be cool.
more like Let's Go Eevee, maybe because it is the same.
Let's
like-
Go Eevee is good.
and that looked good too. I'm with you, but this, look at that. Look at how dramatic. Like this thing looks cool. This is a cool design for a legendary.
Yeah,
And the
like
designs
intense.
look good in the other
Yeah,
game.
look
but
at this. This looks beautiful
Yeah,
to
dude,
me.
this reminds me. You know what this reminds me of?
You know what this would look like in Sword and Shield? It would look like a sunny day.
This
Or
actually,
no, I mean in a
and
Scarlet and Violet.
Scarlet and Violet, it'd be blown up to like
you'd be like, what is it even?
slight blue hues, but not like any. You can notice, like this is stuff anybody would notice. This is something. This is not like we're analysts. This is obviously.
There were starts in this too where we would do stuff like this, and I was like, whoa, like this is crazy.
This reminded me of This gives me the exact feeling of Farron Woods from Twilight Princess.
I was gonna say it looks like Twilight Princess.
It has the same. See, this takes inspiration from it, but takes the lighting to another level. See, that works. It's
Like,
lighting.
beams of light. You won't ever see that in Scarlet and Violet.
Oh yeah, dude. Or it'll
Look
take.
at that.
How's the frame rate still surviving?
Yeah, no
this?
frame rate.
Like what?
No frame rate drops. Look how cool the legendaries look.
Legendaries look really cool. They move. They look intense. Like there's actual particles
there's
going
mist
around,
and particles
little
that can
particles,
frame drop.
and dude, that
Maybe because you
takes
found a great style that looks good,
and it works,
and you could have stuck with it.
and it works. See, that's another thing. They didn't optimize the other game. They didn't optimize anything. They optimized this. They didn't just chuck it out.
I just feel like they were just pushing the Switch too hard with like the realism.
But how is this not pushing it? This looks way better.
I don't know how things work.
Because it's like essentially, so there are different ways. So like Wind Waker, we talk about that all the time when it comes to style because it is the most like known styled game.
Yeah.
Style doesn't necessarily see poly count. This is how I see it. The models have more faces on them. They have more polys. And if you have more polys, a poly is like a face. More faces.
More polys on.
More faces.
In Scarlet and Violet or in
yeah,
this?
in Scarlet and Violet. The
Yes.
more polys tank the frame rate.
It's like we don't need you to do that.
You don't need a model to look.
Okay, what about their
high
shirts
quality.
being like that texture? Is
That
do
actually
it?
doesn't do nothing. Thankfully,
Oh.
normal maps are used to save. Like they're used to, let's say, like see on my shirt, there's like little
So they
lines
just be
on
doing
there,
that all the time.
and they could do that for everything. See, this game has that. maybe a little less so. It's a little less present.
Right.
It's a little less present, but they could add that to this. Combine normal maps with this, and you'd have.
But it wouldn't fit with the style, I don't think.
It would work. I'm only saying it because Zelda can get away with it. So if that can get away with it, then this.
Look at this.
Yeah, that's like dude. How did they not? The frame rate is still holding together.
Yeah.
This is way cooler looking.
That's what I'm saying.
This is way cooler.
That's what I'm saying.
This is like movie like. That's way cooler looking.
And the angles are great.
The angles are great. They look real intense. Just like the GameCube games. They took inspiration from those. You know, the Coliseum. They had over the top looking. Yeah, not just like. Yeah, that's bad. That's really bad. Interesting. He's excited.
Yeah, you're right. The eyes are like fuzzier looking, but it's like a good thing.
Exactly. Like I like the.
So their eyeballs definitely have more polys or whatever.
The eyeballs are like way more simplistic, more cartoony. His model's not as like crazy.
The eyes are way more like
realism in games. We don't need more of that.
Not in Pokemon, not like that.
We also don't need like in general. I feel realism has taken like everything.
You don't really care that much.
It's
I don't want it to be realistic.
I don't want it to look. I'd rather have it look like this. Okay.
Me too.
How's that a problem? It's freaking Nintendo. I don't need them to look like.
It's Pokemon.
Yeah, it's Pokemon.
I like it like
it looks like the anime.
And hey, what do you know? There's a sunlight beaming on you. There's
there's
reddish, bluish stuff going on.
It's not like
clouds.
like
the sky's
blown out.
gorgeous. There's also hunks of stuff flying around.
Oh my gosh, there's shadows on the character on the top of his head. What happened? There's light up here. There's highlights. There's shadows.
Yeah.
I will say that that is the weirdest looking animation. Him throwing the massive Pokeball. Like the most.
Look how cool it looks, though.
Oh, I will say the ending part is like that fixes it. The beanie hat definitely.
The peony hat.
Yeah, that's essentially what it looks like. It's not good. It is not. Yeah, the extra clothes options could be a little more. Like
this whole experience of just watching that was like.
Yeah, it's like an anime. I thought I was watching an anime. I seriously, I'm not even joking.
That's what he does.
I will say at least it's like.
Remember what was the crowd? They'd be like,
yeah. And it's like.
Yeah.
It's like okay, that's too far. But then see, like your character looks. There's emotions I can read. He looks like relieved. He looks like he's kind of excited. Meanwhile, on the other stuff, it's like okay, and the other one is just like a gape. He's like,
I know. He's like.
His mouth's open. Is he a mouth breather? Like
pop the top.
Stupid. But we're getting close to the end, so.
To the whole episode.
So yeah, just for the.
You're right.
The final parts, we'll bring this back for you people. But yeah, it's
a good episode.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting. Like I said, style matters, people. Style.
You basically just made me see why I think that
Yes,
Sword and Shield
I wanted to confirm. That's why I wanted to go a little bit.
That's why I was like, man, I wanted the style to be that.
It's like, why complain?
Which is the only thing I want it to be.
Why complain about like?
And the cities in this feel more like cities by
yes,
long
I even saw it. It was way more. Now I will say it obviously was not up to the old standard where there are NPCs around every corner, like dude, every. But it was still good. Like at least they still made it look like a city.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, every other game is like Meanwhile, Scarlet and Violet, I'm watching these scenes of just color. Like the color is so flat.
Exactly.
It's so flat. But anywho,
God bless.
God bless people.
See you next week.